Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a great day, or at least a decent day, considering that the stock market had the worst day that we've seen in the last 2 years. We see red across the board, the continuation of the whole uncertainty of the stock collapse of 2024. And talking about Black Monday here, will this continue throughout the rest of the week? And the big question is, did the Fed wait too long to cut those interest rates, really increasing the probability for a recession? We're going to be talking about the details that unfolded today, what we could possibly be expecting in the markets, and especially with some interesting things that happened with some of the big trading firms that actually halted trading. People were not able to sell. This is kind of concerning, to say the least, but we're going to be going through some of the details. One stock that was saved and had a wonderful earnings report was Palantir Technologies. If people got in on that dip, already seeing some crazy returns. However, volatility is still at all-time highs. If you are a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting on the data and dispatching it to you. Now, what you see here, red across the board. Over 1.41 trillion was wiped out from the US stock market today. And what we're seeing at market close, Dow Jones, S&P 500, NASDAQ, all down about 3%, I would say, on average, with this continuation of sell-off that's going across in correlation with a lot of the global conflict. Now, the Dow Jones plunges more than 1,000 points, of course, with the fears of the U.S. economic slowdown. And let's talk about what we are seeing in terms of the data that's being released. Now, this is the third consecutive day that we've seen these U.S. stocks that I would say are plunging. S&P sledding 160 points, down 3%. And we're seeing also Apple, big stocks in the Magnificent Seven, are also falling 4 to 2 to 6% respectively. Now, one of the big things that we are seeing is what's driving these stocks down. One of the key points are weak reports on manufacturing and construction, which is basically stoking fears that the U.S. economy may be buckling under pressure and that these valuation and the market capitalization that a lot of these stocks are sitting at might be coming to their reality under the pressure of these high interest rates. We also had the government data that showed that hiring last month was really far weaker than expected. And you're seeing a little bit of the reaction that's happening right now with this, adding to the soft landing, trying from the Fed here, the US economy is attempting to avoid a recession and trying to, like I said, achieve that soft landing. Despite the highest interest rates that we've seen in 23 years, this could become a hard landing. Now, this is a hard balance for the Fed to try to hit perfectly. One of the big things that we saw from Friday's job report was that employers only added 114,000 jobs last month, far fewer than the 175,000 jobs that were expected by economists. And what we're expecting on when the Fed is going to be cutting rates, with the last meeting that we saw last week, they decided to keep that unchanged. And a lot of investors, and especially big Wall Street firms, were not particularly happy with this decision. Now, I think the first rate cut come September, the probability of that is nearly, I think theoretically, about 100%. Everybody is gauging that in. What we are seeing, though, is some of the big key players, they are still not expecting a recession. However, take that with a grain of salt. We do have interesting things that are happening across the market right here. An unbelievably interesting thing here, 6+ trading platforms were down. Citi, Fidelity, E-Trade, Vanguard, TD Ameritrade, and Charles Schwab all had technical difficulties today where people were not able to make trades. Institutions could still make trades, but not the retail traders. Not the people could not make market sell orders. Interesting thing here to see, especially with the theory of trying to ease the burden of the selling pressure that we saw in the pre-market. Now, of course, there could be different things too, but very convenient to say the least and very sus. If you have any suspicions on why this could be happening, leave it down in the comments. I want you guys to kind of get interactive. Let's start talking about it. One big thing I do want to talk about, though, is Palantir Technologies. We've talked about that a lot. And PLTR closing at 24 2009. But in the after hours, after the earnings report here, it does substantially well and is back up to the $27 level of support. Palantir came down here to the lower 20s and is already back up to the 27s. What we see here is a lot of volatility, not just in PLTR, but across the market. This is with the VIX, the volatility index, that it's at an all-time high in recent times. Now with PLTR, their stock actually surges, and I think this saved Palantir from testing the $20 support level by beating their earnings driven by the AI platform demand. Now Palantir Technologies, they surge in the extended hours trading after the company reported, number one, better than expected quarterly results and lifted, in addition, its full year guidance on strong demand for its AI platform, AIP. Now, the company reported second quarter earnings and revenue that beat analyst estimates with sharing records highs. And the CEO, Alex Karp, here credited the strong quarter by saying there's basically unbridled demand for the company's software. We see here they reported a second quarter revenue of $678 million, beating analyst expectations of $652 million. And what we're particularly seeing is that the company's commercial revenue, which has been a great accelerator in terms of, I want to say, the exposure and the expansion of Palantir Technologies, their commercial revenue grew 33% to $307 million, with U.S. commercial sales up over 55%. Saying here that the growth of the business has been re-accelerating steadily, and they see an unprecedented opportunity ahead to build upon this momentum. Now, for the third quarter and for the guidance that has been raised, they're expecting between $697 million to $700 million for the next quarter. This is ahead of analyst projections and also lifting its full year guidance, which was incredibly bullish for PLTR here, between 2.74 to 2.75 billion, up from 2.68 billion. We see Palantir that's up over 15% in extended trading. It'll be interesting to see what happens, especially with all the variables and tensions and uncertainties that are filling the market right now as we speak. Looking here at just the sheer numbers, you can see that U.S. government numbers are still doing well, as their governmental revenue grew 24% year over year, and you're seeing here commercial revenue growing over 33%. One big thing that we always have been a big watcher on is the actual customer count. And the customer count here grew 41% year over year. And what we're seeing here is adjusted earnings per share growing 80% year over year to 9 cents, with cash that is continuing to be falling into PLTR, which already has an amazing balance sheet. So congratulations to Palantir Technologies for, I want to say, showing this amazing earnings report, especially in these critical times, and bringing a lot of life and momentum back to its stock. With the big market players and what's been happening in the market, it'll be interesting to see what happens to its share price, but congratulations to the shareholders and the bulls that have stayed strong on PLTR. We will see what happens. What are your predictions for tomorrow in terms of, do you think it's going to be testing that $30 level of resistance? We are seeing Japan's markets that are actually starting to rise, and this could cause features right now that we are seeing a little bit of bullishness. So was this a dip and an immediate reversal that continues this bull market, or will we continue to see a domino effect of selling pressure that cannot be saved by the buyers? Peace out. Take care. I'll catch you guys later. And of course, have a wonderful day.